it looks like they are going to take Lincoln. Yeah, right here, Lincoln Boulevard. So this little section is almost like a freeway. This will lead over towards the Westchester neighborhood and
Marina?
Loyola Marymount University, and back towards, the Marina,
Playa
Vista,
del Rey.
Marina del Rey, which we were at earlier. Briefly, when we were just about to get on this pursuit, this person was briefly in that area. So, boy, really just, we thought maybe they were coming back to kind of the scene of the crime, so to speak, but not so much. Just continuing to cover a lot of ground here. We've been on, I think, 5 different freeways, all kinds of different major boulevards and surface streets, and northbound Lincoln Boulevard, part of Pacific Coast Highway here. LAPD got through the airspace okay, and they've got their spotlight trained on this driver like a hawk.
Oh, wow, they are really, come from all angles. I saw a cruiser right at the corner. I forgot the name of that street. I should know that area pretty well. I used to live over there. But, they have really, they've got the call out, so they certainly know where this driver is. And again, more red lights. Driving on Lincoln Boulevard through Westchester, and there are still some businesses that could be open.
Yeah, absolutely. Lincoln Boulevard, especially as we get up towards, the Venice. We'll see how far north this goes. They go up towards Venice, but, there's quite a few restaurants and bars that could be open late in that area. This section of Lincoln Boulevard, pretty deserted at this point, also pretty wide, but here's CHP. I don't know if they heard me there. I wasn't trying to insult them earlier, but all of a sudden they are
They're
starting
back on the case.
They are back on it here on the ground. And as we are getting ready to go over Ballona Creek, I believe, and we'll see if the suspect gets back on the 90 freeway, the shortest freeway around.
Or if he continues on to Santa Monica. Now he's making a turn, Des.
He's
doing a U-turn?
So, and so now I've got to wonder, Pat, is this person trying to lose the spotlights in LAPD's airspace? Is this not this person's first rodeo? Because we have definitely seen that before. There's been a pursuit, a stolen vehicle pursuit, where a suspect lost 4 different helicopters by going into LAX's airspace. And I have to wonder now if this is intentional, going back, reversing course. Because they did this earlier, too. They were around LAX. Oh, no, really close there. Oh, barely avoided that.
Yeah, that was awful.
This person who was making that, that person who was making that turn probably saw them out of the corner of their eye like, what is this person doing? And the suspect just dodged them at the very last second there. There might have been even a little bit of paint traded, I'm not sure, but that poor person definitely shaken up. That was definitely the closest call we have had so far, and just continuing to go through red lights, and let's see if that's going to change the strategy again for CHP after that really, really close call. Are they going to stick with this or not? Yeah,
I was going to say they're going to stick. They certainly aren't speeding up to catch up with this guy right now. And look at that. Okay, there's still some traffic on Lincoln Boulevard at this hour, but that was one of the closest, as you mentioned, the closest calls that we've seen so far. Driving with the lights off, and if you've ever been behind one of these, or in front, I should say, and you got something, a car like this coming up behind you with no lights on, driving at those kinds of speeds, it does shake you up. It's happened to me before on more than one occasion, and it's, it startles you because you don't see them coming, and then by the time they're there, you don't know whether to get to your left or to your right, and that could be a very bad move, and sometimes could prove deadly in some cases. But no, they're back on him, Desmond. They're staying with him.
No, they are.
That spotlight, too.
And I can tell you, LAX is going to be really aggravated with all of this going on right now. These poor controllers have to deal with so much. And now, here comes us, and then LAPD down low. And so they're going to clear them through as we are back southbound on Sepulveda. But this is already now, they spent some time in this airspace earlier before we got here. And that was now, I'm just so cynical about these pursuits. Oh, got some construction here on southbound Sepulveda, so now really kind of squeezing by some traffic right by a bus right there. And they're actually backing out at this moment because of that construction. We just heard that authorities are backing out. We'll see if that is permanent or if they're going to try to re-engage this. They may just monitor this from the air for a little bit until it gets a little bit safer. But I was just saying, the suspect was already in this airspace earlier, kind of hanging around, and I was wondering if that might have been intentional to try to ditch the eyes from the air. And we'll widen out as we go underneath the runways at the second busiest airport in the country, one of the busiest in the world at LAX. And as we'll be coming out, wait a minute, is that, no, that's not the suspect. Hold on a second. There we go. There they are right there.
Yep, the car with no lights on.
The authorities know. Yeah, that sticks out for sure. So looks like we're going to be getting on
Imperial Highway.
I believe we're going to be on
Going back to
Imperial or the
105.
105. Yeah, back onto the 105, and once again the suspect going underneath us. My pilot Chris doing a fantastic job on this one. This is a particularly difficult one. We got to spin the camera around as we make it eastbound on the 105, and I will zoom back in on this one. So we actually had a pretty seamless transition through that airspace, though, at the very least. But now eastbound, see what they do at the 405, just aimlessly leading authorities on a, hate to say a joyride, but it kind of seems like that's what it is at this point.
Yeah, it does, Des, with really no end in sight at this point. Back and forth. I love how you talked about Chris doing some great work up there. Those have been some fantastic shots, by the way. Those aerials are really, I want to say picturesque. It's kind of difficult to talk about these kinds of things sometimes, to describe exactly what's going on. So tell Chris the shots have certainly made a difference. And here's this guy again. Well, all right, he put his brake lights on for a minute, or he turned his lights back on for just a little bit here. But basically doing the same thing, just driving, high rates of speed, coming up on some residential areas or residential streets, then getting back on different freeways. I think you mentioned at least 5 different freeways, Desmond, and he's been, same trajectory. He'll go on one, and then we saw him make a U-turn and just get back on the same freeway that he traversed. So at this point, not really sure as to what his plan is or where he's going. I know you said you think that he's done this. This is not his first time at the rodeo, because he does seem to make some maneuvers where he's trying to, especially with LAX airspace, or like he's outsmarting law enforcement. But we know that's not the case. They know most of the tricks in the book by now.
Yeah, it's just really tough because if you're dealing with, I guess, I don't know if you would, consider maybe a veteran car thief or someone who's been involved in this. I mean, we have seen some suspects get away when it seemed inevitable that they were going to get in custody if they just did something outrageously dangerous, and then they knew of a nearby parking garage where they get in, ditch the vehicle while they have maybe a 30-second leeway, and they get away. So I'm wondering if that's what this suspect is trying to do, or if they're just dragging this out, if they have any plan at all, if they're calling friends, if they're calling their lawyer. This does seem to be particularly aimless, though, with this one. Going through that LAX airspace, I was just kind of hypothesizing maybe that's what the suspect was trying to ditch the air support. But you see CHP, they are getting pretty aggressive with this now. They've backed off at times. But, now, I wonder, well, they've been in pursuit so long now at this point.
Oh, look how close this is.
Maybe they're going to keep with it. Yep, now onto the left-hand shoulder, and all it's going to take is a big chunk of debris sitting there in that right-hand lane, and that's this suspect's tires are going to be toast. But in the carpool lane now, which does offer a transition to the 110. Nope, go ahead over to the right again at the last second. Again, trying to kind of juke the authorities, kind of a common tactic, and might be doing it again. Let's see if they're actually going to stay in the carpool lane. No, just kind of straddling the carpool lane. And we are now. Did we already pass the 110? Trend? No, we haven't passed it yet. Not yet. No, we're coming up on the 110 transition, going right in between vehicles there. You kind of surprisingly, decent traffic here. A little bit more crowded on the eastbound side than it was earlier on the westbound side. That's for sure.
That's true, and you have to say this person has pretty much control of this vehicle, and with the rate of speed that they're going. But law enforcement has got to be aggravated, because at this point, this driver, he's just, playing tricks, trying to get to wherever he's going to go. which knows the jig is going to be up at some point. So they're just going to continue until they can, I guess, unless they run out of gas, because as you've mentioned, he's covered quite a bit of territory so far.
Yeah, especially just by virtue of the speed they've been going. I mean, we've had pursuits that, this has been going on for, well, I guess this has been going on for a decent amount of time now. We're closing in on about 45 minutes, but yeah, we've covered a lot of miles. And how much gas was in the tank of this Kia sedan? Probably run-of-the-mill gas mileage, I'm guessing, on the high. Well, at these speeds, probably sub 20 miles per gallon. And right in between there, gosh, it's got to be so nerve-wracking for these folks out here tonight. But going these speeds, obviously you guzzle that gas a lot more quickly. And if this person didn't have a full tank of gas, then how much longer can this physically even go on?
And so many violations. I'm saying this, Desmond, because I can't tell you how many times I want to get in the carpool lane and I'm driving by myself. This person just doesn't care, because right, they're in and out, doesn't matter to them. And CHP obviously still behind. We've got the spotlight overhead. LAPD chopper, correct? They're the ones with the spotlight on this vehicle?
Yeah, that's right.
And they were involved in the first place, and then once this went to the freeway, CHP got involved and they backed off for quite some time. LAPD seemed to back off. That was pretty close, Desmond. Did you see that?
Yeah, it is actually, I was going to say, Pat, earlier that the driving on the freeway, besides the speeds, didn't seem really dangerous, not nearly as much so anyway on surface streets, but now it is starting to, as we're seeing this traffic pick up, and this driver just not afraid to zigzag between cars, kind of straddle the lane there to get in between whatever vehicles they have to keep up these speeds. Yeah, in and out of the carpool lane. I know we've all been tempted at one point or another, especially on the 405 or the 105 right here. But boy, that is a hefty ticket, more than $500 now, I believe, if you were to do that. So okay, that was interesting. There was CHP. So, boy, that happened so quickly. I'm not even sure what was happening there, but
like the CHP in the middle of the freeway, right?
Yeah, they had a break, and they might have just been for something unrelated. If CHP, I'm wondering if they were running a traffic brake for some kind of hazard or stalled vehicle or something. Maniac just came right up on him, and got pretty close there to the officer and some people that were nearly stopped. And if this person wasn't paying close attention, they could have been like hitting a brick wall at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Fortunately, not the case as we transition now once again to the 710. And looks like we're going to be headed northbound on the 710 here. And, well, where are we off to now on our stolen vehicle freeway tour as we get ready to hit Wednesday morning?
Oh, yeah, Des, I don't mean to chuckle, but you said that perfectly, our tour. Okay,
Yeah.
the 710, because, yeah, now he's in Compton.
He's in Compton, and then shortly he'll be in Southgate, Bell Gardens. We're gonna fly through all of those little cities south of downtown Los Angeles, depending on how far this suspect goes and if they're going to stay on the freeway or not. I wonder if that rattled the suspect at all, seeing CHP up there with that traffic brake. I've never seen them run a traffic brake in front of a pursuit like that, so which makes me think that was just a really bad coincidence, but just glad that didn't end horrifically.
Okay, but the possibilities again, not too many, Desmond, besides this person running out of gas or them just saying, oh, forget about it and trying to catch up with them later, because it's not much they can do in terms of spike strips, that's for sure, and has not given them an opportunity to do any kind of pit maneuver because of the speeds that this person is driving right now. So he's just going aimlessly, either until he gives up, runs out of gas, or law enforcement just lets it go. But they haven't up until this point. They have backed off and then re-engaged. And at some points, we've always talked about this, or you certainly have made a point of saying this, just when you think law enforcement has backed off, they show up. And sometimes they really show up in force. You see them, well, you don't see them coming, and all of a sudden they're there. at an intersection. So they're certainly communicating with other law enforcement agencies, and you talked about different border cities. They do talk to each other, and they seem to want to follow this for the time being. And we've been on this, as you mentioned now, for about a little, going up to an hour, well, almost an hour. Well, now this is
Yep.
the closest I think we've seen.
Yeah.
CHP to
we
this.
haven't had CHP in the same frame for quite some time. So, you know, they are
Whoa.
definitely involved and fairly aggressive on this one. This is the only unit that is in pursuit at the moment. Again, probably trying to get other units in place. As soon as one gets in place, they go into a different area, and then they're trying to get other units lined up as well. And you just see how many resources can be consumed on a pursuit like this. You know, in addition to obviously, you know, watching crime right now take place late night in Southern California, you know, it's just such a drain on resources, and that's what just can be so frustrating, in addition to the obvious, you know, danger to everyone around this person right now. But you've had so many different CHP officers involved. You had officers in LAPD Newton that started this, officers down in San Pedro in the Harbor Division that were aware of this and were keeping a visual of this. We're on our second LAPD helicopter, and we would probably have another helicopter. In fact, we would have CHP's helicopter. I believe it sounds like it's down for maintenance tonight, though. So, you know, that's just another thing that, you know, maybe gets lost in all of this to consider is, you know, just how many resources get clogged up trying to bring someone to justice, a stolen vehicle suspect like this.
Yeah, again, you know, we talk about how aggravating it. Oh, wow. And this driver just seems to be getting more aggressive as well. Just when you think possibly they'd be slowing down, no, they still has his foot on the gas. And it's, you know, interesting. There's a bit of traffic out here on the 710 at midnight.
Well, yep. So this is that last bit of the 710. It's going to end, well, it's going to end at Valley Boulevard, but effectively at the 10. And I'm really curious what the suspect's going to do, because both of the ramps to the 10, looks like they might be getting off the freeway right now. I was just going to say that, or no, okay, they're going to the 60, going towards the 60 freeway.
Well, that's the first.
Because those ramps to the 10 are pretty sharp, and we've seen suspects wipe out on those ramps before. But instead, taking the more gentle ramps onto the 60 freeway, and looks like we're going to be making our way onto the eastbound 60. So I believe we've hit our our fifth or sixth freeway now at this point.
I think that would be six, Desmond.
Now, yep, making our way into the San Gabriel Valley.
Okay, well, again, boy, what a swath of road that this person has traveled in just the last hour that we've been on the air. And for those who may not have joined us at the very beginning, this is a stolen vehicle pursuit. And as far as we know, that's what this person is wanted for, besides all the other charges, of course, that he's been racked up, evading police, and failure to yield, so many things, right, Desmond? Just piling on top of this being a stolen car. We haven't seen well, they haven't had the opportunity really to do any kind of techniques or to pull anything out of their arsenal to try to bring this to a halt, because this driver has been driving over 100 miles per hour most of the night, which is another question. Des said this is a Kia sedan, so you wonder, you know, this tank should be coming up on dry, you would think, with the mileage that he's put on this car.
This kind of depends on, you know, how much $5 or $6, even $7 a gallon gas this suspect has in this allegedly stolen vehicle right now. But CHP's options very limited at this point. This is just, I can't imagine that they're going to put an officer out there with a spike strip when someone's going 110 miles. Well, okay, I say that, and our amazing assignment desk is saying that there is some talk about spike strips. Just not sure how that's going to go. I mean, you really need the suspect to be either on one of either the far left or the far right lane to have a really good chance at that, unless they're going to shut a freeway down and lay spikes, across all lanes. But the way this person has been going and making transitions, and because they're going so fast, they would have to be set up so far ahead to, pull off any kind of operation like that. It's very hard for me to imagine. And, it's a very kind of split-second thing. If they're going this fast, look at this now, up to 130 miles an hour, I'm not sure that any officer's reflexes are that quick that they can, deploy a spike strip that quickly. So we're just going to, like I said, but the faster they go, the faster they guzzle that gas. And, this is not a little Prius or a Geo Metro or any of those little gas sippers. This looks to be a full-size sedan. Not sure the horsepower on this. I don't believe this isn't a particularly sporty car. I'm sure one of my car buddies is going to text me some of the specifics about that. But, probably getting under 20 miles a gallon. How many gallons? It's probably, I don't know, I'm guessing maybe a 15-gallon tank, something like that. So, that could still go on for a very long time if this person had a full tank. But chances are they didn't just come from the gas station. So, of course, it's just conjecture at this point. But, Pat, the way this is going, I guess we got time for a little conjecture.
Well, why not, Desmond? Because we don't even know. Maybe this was stolen from a gas station. We don't know exactly where this person, this alleged stolen vehicle in the first place. So that's what we can do is conjecture. And you've been doing this long enough. We both have, where we can make some observations. And, sometimes they're spot on. I would say most of the time they're spot on. And at this point, this driver is just continuing to go. He's just found new highways or roadways to get on to try to get away from law enforcement. And law enforcement has still stayed with this driver for over an hour now. No matter how much they pulled back some, but then they've gotten back on the case and are still following this driver who has no apparent, we think at one point we thought he could have been talking to someone on the phone, as we have seen at times where they look for a place to ditch a vehicle, try to do, foot bail, but not so. This has been going on for nearly an hour, close to an hour now, and really don't see an end in sight here. I know, Desmond, you were talking about possibly chatter about a spike strip, but don't know how in the world they would do that on this wide freeway. That's for sure. And the fact it's dangerous, even for officers, right? Even if they had fast reflexes, but you'd really have to have fast reflexes for something like this to try to even get something in place. And you would think if they went ahead of it and tried to do it, that this driver would see them and try to go around it in the first place.
Well, yeah, exactly. We have seen operations where CHP will kind of very coyly stop lanes, or even maybe just a couple of the right lanes. And I'm thinking of one time where I saw them almost seem to kind of use a semi for cover. And then when the driver got near, they threw out the spike strip, and it was successful. But that was also in the daytime in rush hour traffic. This is nighttime, full speed traffic. So I'm very curious how they are going to pursue any kind of spike strip endeavor to try to bring this one to an end. I would love to. I would love to see them succeed in that, but I just think of the officer putting themselves in danger.
Yeah.
But we are now past the 605. We're going to be at the 57 here pretty quickly. So then we're going to be getting into Orange County. So now you're talking about a whole other agency, a whole other jurisdiction getting involved in this. But we are really running the gambit tonight.
Well, that would be interesting. Talk about Orange County. They certainly can be more aggressive when they want to be in terms of ending these pursuits. I notice that they have their lights off again. We've seen this throughout this entire ordeal, where this driver has will turn his lights off and then turn them back on. We have no reason why.
Yeah, and you wonder what the driver gains from that. They know, look, CHP's right behind them. The helicopter is above them.
And so is Desmond.
It's not that dark out here. Yeah, and so are we, and it's not so dark out here that they have any chance to evade officers in that way. So what is the point? You're only making it more dangerous for yourself, for everyone else. I mean, I'd like to assume this person doesn't want this to end in a spectacular crash. But, you know, here we go. The light's off, 120 miles an hour. And we're going to come through the 60-57 interchange, which will be a little complicated in that the freeways basically come together for about a half mile and share one roadway between the East 60 and the northbound 57. But CHP pretty committed on this one, and now it's almost like, you know, they've been involved for so long that now, despite what I said earlier, it's kind of hard for me to imagine them backing off this because they've
put so much
committed
time
so heavily to this.
Yeah, that's true. They've been invested, that's for sure. And if it's just pure aggravation alone that they want to continue to put this guy in handcuffs, if you ask me.
Pat, my assignment desk was just telling me that a CHP fixed wing may actually be coming in to get involved in this as well.
Fixed
and they
wing.
have, well, I believe LAPD does as well. Yeah, so they have it's called a stationary. It's usually a crew of 3. I actually met them one time at Burbank Airport when we were on a refueling stop. Nice gents, and we were just talking about that. I mean, it's kind of hard to imagine a fixed wing on this because fixed wing aircraft have totally different airspace restrictions when it comes to flying. In different airspaces, they have to fly at different altitudes. But it's usually a crew of 3. They fly up considerably higher. And apparently they're coming all the way up here from San Diego, which is crazy. They have a camera on one of the wings, and they have infrared on that. I believe LAPD does as well, a system that they call FLUR. But they're coming to get involved in this. So again, even more resources. But it was probably pretty quiet in San Diego for the overnight crew of the CHP fixed wing, so they decide, well, we're going to come and get involved in this one.
So what is it, just to keep an eye on the driver? I mean, is that the whole purpose?
Yeah, I'm guessing, that it is CHP, so they would like to have their aircraft overhead. It may be easier communication-wise as well for, the CHP ground units maybe to communicate with their own aircraft as opposed to LAPD's aircraft. I know there was actually a notorious chase a couple of years ago where there was major communication issues between, I believe it was LA County Sheriff's ship and LAPD, and they couldn't communicate, and they ended up losing the pursuit. It was a huge fiasco because of communication issues. So I wonder if that was the reason for that. And now you see a new unit who's taken over the lead on this one. And now as we make our way into Orange County, actually we'll be getting into San Bernardino County, I believe, as we continue on the eastbound 60. But you see that new unit getting in. They'll rotate units in and out because this is stressful on these officers. When they're going 130 miles an hour trying to keep up with, you don't want an officer obviously low on energy out here trying to cover a high-speed pursuit like this. So they'll often rotate. Now the driver forced to slow down, and it looks like we're going to be making our way southbound on the 57 freeway right now. So we had the option of going into San Bernardino County or Orange County. We're now getting into Orange County. Probably going to see a lot of different personnel switching in and out. I mean, we've already got that white unit there who I believe is an Orange County unit. And then we may be getting new aircraft getting involved in this as well.
Well, you talk about energy, not only that, but like a new pair of eyes or fresh pair of eyes in terms of, who's following in these pursuits. And it could get interesting. That Orange County vehicle got pretty close to this driver. Wow,
well,
now he's
looks like we're
doing some
getting
maneuvers.
Off the freeway.
Yeah, well, there's some.
Getting off the freeway now at Pathfinder.
Okay.
So we're in Diamond Bar. So actually, we're technically still in LA County because they got off the freeway right here, blasted through that red light. Well, no, just why? Why even do that? Why get off the freeway, blast through a red light, only to get back on the freeway?
The freeway.
Well, maybe it was to dodge that road work right there. There was some road work, so getting through that construction zone right there. I mean, at the very least, not flying 130 miles an hour near those Caltrans workers out there, those workers that put themselves in such a precarious situation to maintain our extensive freeway system
Yes.
in Southern California.
In fact, I might miss some of that tonight, Desmond, since we're on the air here.
Yeah, that's right. There has been some road work on the 101, I know, and yeah, you know, overnight hours. I much to the chagrin of drivers, you know, you get stuck in traffic in the morning, you get stuck in traffic at night, and then you got to go drive at night. You're like, nah, this is the time to drive, right? No, that's when Caltrans gets out and they shut down the freeways, and then sometimes you get stuck in detours, and that can be, you know, a whole other thing. So you really just cannot win in Southern California, that's for sure. But on the 57 freeway here, as we get ready to leave the San Gabriel Valley, and the next stop, Brea Canyon, we will be in Orange County. So, Pat, earlier we were talking about gas, and like clockwork, I got to give a shout out to my personal friend Cody, who messaged me that the engine on this Kia probably is between 1 and 2 liters, and max fuel capacity is a little over 18 gallons. So, you know, 1 or 2 liter engine, that's pretty small. That's definitely on the fuel efficient side, but not when you're driving it like this. This vehicle, I'm sure, is revving really high and struggling most likely to keep up with these speeds. And again, no idea if this car does have a full tank of gas. Maybe it was stolen from a gas station. We certainly know that pursuits have started that way, or they've been initiated when people, you know, run into a store, the convenience store really quickly to grab something. They leave the car running, and just like that, next thing you know, you're calling LAPD about your stolen vehicle, and your car is on CBS and KCAL for more than an hour, coming up on an hour and a half, and as we make our way southbound on the 57.
Well, you know, the good thing, we haven't seen any accidents, thank goodness. We've seen some close calls, but for the most part, you know, that's a good thing to acknowledge, because we certainly don't like to see any innocent people get hurt in something like this, or law enforcement, you know, or not really even the driver, because at this point they're just aimlessly out there on the road trying to get away from law enforcement, which, you know, we know that's probably not going to happen. And as you mentioned, and yeah, give another shout out to your friend Cody. Maybe that's why officers are still engaged with this, because they know that possibly this guy is going to run out of gas sometime soon too.
Yeah, and we know that they'll take it, you know, all the way to the border there in San Ysidro if they have to. I mean, not that we'll be able to cover it that far. As much as I would love to take a refueling break and get some world-famous tacos in San Diego, we'll not be able to take it that far if that's what happens. But southbound on the 57, we'll be making our way towards the 91. And, you know, Orange County, I think, pretty solidly in this. Now, my pilot, Chris, was just hearing some chatter with the helicopter overhead. They might be having some issues with their spotlight. The technical term is a night sun. But we just, you know, it's basically a spotlight, and I don't know if it burnt itself out or if it's malfunctioning or what, but they're having an issue with that. And now there's going to be other aircraft coming in, and well, we know CHP,
the fixed wing, right?
Yeah, the fixed wing does not have a night sun. They do have the infrared, at least, to be able to track that. But that's really mostly useful if the suspect gets out and runs in a dark area. So they will at least have that. And my scientists just tell me they were, you know what, I was talking earlier about communication issues, and it sounds like they were having that as well. So you see how taxing this can be for law enforcement as well, the longer that this goes on. And, you know, I can tell you, helicopter maintenance, you know, not a light thing. There's a lot of things that can go wrong on a helicopter, and you know, LAPD has their helicopters up pretty much all the time as it is, and so, you know, then you get a ship out on a long pursuit like this, and it's, you know, not unheard of that something can go haywire, and that sounds like that may be happening now from the air.
All right, well, I'm glad you pointed that out, Desmond, and that's certainly, you know, when we think about these things, we talk about the man hours involved, energy, fresh eyes, and we have to also talk about the equipment. I mean, we know that you have issues sometimes with the chopper. You certainly have to refuel, and any little technical issue can happen that could, set you a little bit behind, or in terms of coverage. And in this particular case, in terms of the officers keeping up with that night sun on this vehicle, that certainly can happen. That's technology for you, and that's just the way it goes. So now they're making, where are they now, Desmond? Did they exit?
Well, we are down at the 91 freeway, and it looks like we are making the westbound 91. Well, I tell you, sounds like, Orange County sheriffs heard there was a pursuit, and they wanted to fire up their chopper, so they're going to be coming to get involved, and hopefully they have a working spotlight, night sun, whatever you want to call it. So, and speak of that, we know how it could be with Orange County. You were mentioning earlier, Pat. I mean, absolutely. We'll see what they do. I mean, hopefully there will be an opportunity where the suspect will do one of these things where they get off the freeway, and if the unit is pit certified and they have permission from their supervisor, then maybe there will be a split-second moment where they can get in there, get right up on the bumper, spin that car around, and bring this to a conclusion. Short of that, it's probably going to be the suspect running out of gas, or the suspect just getting tired of this. I mean, again, we talked about, switching out the fresh officers and everything. Obviously, this is where the suspect, is at a major disadvantage. I mean, they've been driving this fast for this long, dodging vehicles, had that close call back in the Westchester area. Yeah, and, just driving around Southern California for 2 hours at normal speed is taxing enough as it is. And now you couple these kind of, white knuckle speeds with police behind you, and, you have to wonder how much longer this suspect, has it in them to continue this.
Yeah, that's a good point, Desmond. And not only that, but even your vision, driving at night like that and long distances. And this person has not had a break. They've been going for over an hour now, and they're still going.
Yeah, well over an hour.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we're closing down in on an hour and a half, I believe, at this point. So, yeah, it's nighttime, and, don't know if this person's a night owl or what, but it's getting to be that time of night as well. But, I mean, we've been consistently over 100 miles an hour for almost the entirety of the pursuit. So, on a per capita basis of miles per hour and miles covered, this is probably near the top as far as pursuits we've covered, because we've seen a lot of pursuits where there'll be really, really high speeds, but they might not last that long. If the tires fall off or they end up getting in a crash or something, then Lord knows we've seen the marathon pursuits at very slow speeds, but now we've got a long pursuit and very high speeds. I haven't seen that for a very long time. And we'll widen out and show you CHP here. They had backed off for a minute when they were in that construction zone on the 57 just for a bit, but now that we are back into a wide open freeway, they are right back behind, giving a little bit of distance so far, but not a ton. They've definitely been a lot more engaged, I would say, than they were, for quite a bit of the time there in LA County.
And actually, Desmond, even when this driver got on surface streets for a minute, I didn't see them drive less than 50 miles per hour. They were still driving 70, 80. Shooting through those intersections in the wrong lane.
Yeah, we definitely had some high speeds. Yeah, I mean, it's really gotten nerve-wracking when it's been on the surface streets. And here we go. Let's see where I think we're going to be taking the northbound 5 right here. Yep, northbound 5. So we did a little tour through Orange County and now coming back into LA County. And, so now we're going to get LA County CHP back involved once we get past Artesia Boulevard. That's the dividing line to get back into LA County. And, of course, all the road work on the 5 that had been going on for what felt like forever since I had graduated college. That is all wrapped up, so I don't believe we're going to see any big road work closures here on the northbound side of the 5. But, boy, 100 miles an hour the entire time on this one. It's definitely been a crazy one.
Yep, and again, no end in sight. was that round and round she goes, where it's going to end? Nobody knows, because this person is just, is just choosing different freeways randomly to jump on and lead police on this, high-speed pursuit that we've seen for almost, an hour and a half now at these high speeds, and really, thank goodness, I haven't seen any accidents. We've seen some close calls. He's gotten pretty close to vehicles, but from what we've seen, we haven't seen any collision of any kind, thank goodness, and we certainly hope that remains the case. And that's LA County behind him now. What about Orange County? Are they still involved, Des? Can you tell?
Well, we'll see what happens if there's some kind of a switch off here, but the lights just got switched off, and there's this. Apparently, this driver might be getting ready to encounter a stalled big rig right now, so they really need to be careful. Reported up ahead my assignment desk was just making me privy to, but. So we actually have an LA County Sheriff's Deputy's helicopter that's coming in now that we're getting out of Orange County Sheriff's jurisdiction. The same helicopter with that spotlight problem is still here. They're probably going to be relieved here by LA County Sheriff's deputies soon. They're not too far away, but let's see. We might be coming up on that stalled big rig here pretty soon. Here comes another fresh unit who, we're unclear if that's from Orange County or LA County. Did have a stalled big rig reported right up in this area. I don't see it at this point, but here you go. Looks like they got the spotlight working again, though. Okay, that's I'm being told that's actually
from the
yes. That was from LA County Sheriff's helicopter.
All right, well, there's going northbound on the 5 freeway, coming up on Rosecrans Avenue, and we were expecting a stalled big rig to possibly slow this down. Or hoping that would be the case. He's passed a couple of them.
Yeah, maybe that might have been sometimes on CHP's what they call the CAD, their kind of incident report page. Sometimes there's incidents on there that may have just cleared but are still kind of being logged as active. So yeah, I didn't see a stalled big rig there, so it may have already cleared out of the way, which is good to not see this potentially end in a crash, especially with this person with no headlights on right now. Just absolutely ridiculous driving. But you do see the sheriff's deputies are now the ones with that spotlight overhead. So yet another helicopter. That's now the 3rd helicopter that's been on this. Make that the 4th. Third, but then we were going to have one from Orange County that would have been the 4th, and then CHP fixed wing somewhere up there. Sheriff's Air 21 is who this is right now, who is overhead. Should be a crew of 2, the pilot and a tactical flight officer who mans that spotlight so well, and will be calling out to the units on the ground. There you see another CHP unit getting ready to be engaged in this, but 120 miles an hour, you're just passing by all of these units right now. And where are you going? Is this just the final drive? I know I'm going to jail, so I'm just going to milk this as much as I can. I've always wanted, is that what this person's thinking? Like, just
hey, Desmond.
Because otherwise, I just don't seem to know what the plan is.
Well, I like that plan that you just said. I like the one that you had just mentioned, because certainly, how else is this going to end? They're following you. They backed off. They've come back on. So they are obviously committed to this, and they want to put handcuffs on you. And I would say that's going to happen, Desmond. And let's just hope that is what happens. And he doesn't lose control. I've been kind of surprised myself. We've been talking about how law enforcement has had different units. They've been able to refresh and have different, sets of eyes, different officers, new energy, so to speak. But this person has been driving. It's the same one. No switch off there. It's the same person behind the wheel. And they have been pretty much in command of this vehicle, driving at these high rates of speed. And I guess, folks, you could probably tell that Desmond and I are just waiting for this guy to run out of gas. And I'm sure that's what the officers are thinking themselves. That's, you know, I'm not an expert in this, but I'm thinking that could be possibly one reason why they've stayed with this, because we haven't heard any information that this started as some kind of violent crime in terms of, you know, how this vehicle was stolen. So you would think they want to get this, bring this to an end, not only just because of sheer aggravation, but again, probably thinking, well, this dude's got to run out of gas at some point. Or
Yeah,
other means.
so
And we haven't seen him try to, you know, exit and make some kind of foot bail or end up in a familiar place, as we see so many different times.
And, you know, Pat, I wonder, is it really worth all of this for a stolen vehicle? I mean, yes, you know, you're gonna go to jail, but it just seems to me it's going to be so much worse when the probability of getting away is so low, and, you know, and that's just when you don't even factor in the safety issue. You're really going to roll the dice like this for this long, and hope that it doesn't come up snake eyes to get away from this. I mean, we have certainly seen some get away, no doubt about it. This just doesn't seem to me like one of those pursuits where they are going to get away, because authorities are just so keen on this, and they have so many different resources, several different helicopters overhead. They even have, you know, the CHP airplane overhead on this one. You have multiple infrared systems trained on this car if they get out and run. You've got the units on the ground that if they're not backing off at 130 miles an hour, they're not backing off. If they would have already done that a long time ago, the watch commander would have told them to terminate that if they were ever going to. So you can see how committed the police are to this, and there really doesn't seem to be any plan by this person to do anything. You know, they don't seem to have any kind of, you know, action movie plan to get out of this. So what is the end game?
Well, he sure is going in and out of traffic. He sure is making those lane changes. Certainly in just that last...
Zigging and zagging.
Right? I mean, really.
Definitely.
And seems to have really stepped that up in just, you know, in the last minute or so that you were talking, Desmond. And I guess that's because of the traffic that's on the freeway right now, which is a little, is that surprising to you? I mean, well, this is the 5 North, but we've seen quite a bit of traffic at this time.
There has been a decent amount of traffic on some of these freeways. We saw a lot of big rigs on the 710. A lot of them work at off hours. We had that construction on the 57 that constricted lanes. There was a decent amount of cars on the 91, and we're coming up to the East LA interchange, really kind of the epicenter of traffic in Los Angeles. So I won't be surprised if we see some more traffic up ahead. And then where will the suspect go from there? We will either continue on to the North 5, where that notorious section of the 5 where it goes down to just 2 lanes, or they can go to the westbound 10 Santa Monica freeway, or continue on to the northbound 101 and head to the heart of downtown LA. We are kind of trending back to where we first heard about this, LAPD's Newton Division. We're only a couple of miles away from that, so I don't know. Well, maybe that's not a coincidence. Maybe the driver is headed back to that area, if that is an area that is familiar to them. And let's just hope that they're going to ditch the vehicle at this point and stop driving like a maniac with their lights off and you know, endangering all of these folks, and you know, bring this madness to an end.
Well, for you to say, oh, now what are they doing? Okay.
Looks like northbound 5, I think. Yeah, northbound. Wait a minute. No, this is going to be a 10 Santa Monica. So this was the one I was hoping that they weren't going to take, because there's the huge kind of elevated section of the roadway here we're going to have to navigate to bring you a clean shot of this. It doesn't last too long, though. Here we go, coming out of it actually now. So we'll be headed through downtown LA and over the LA River we go, and we'll headed for downtown Los Angeles. Getting awfully close to LAPD Newton actually now.
Well, you know, if they get to downtown Los Angeles, that's another thing, Desmond, as we know, with those tall buildings, the parking garages. Sometimes that can be like a a mouse trap. Oh,
Yep.
they're off the freeway.
Yeah, so, yeah, just got off the freeway here all of a sudden. And kind of one of those maneuvers where they did it at the last second, but they were not able to fool the airship here as we're now on Olympic Boulevard. Really quick maneuver there.
Look at
but
them.
look at all of the units here that
Yeah.
are positioned. And, again, just the excellent communication of law enforcement, even getting off the freeway, even pulling that maneuver really close to that big rig right there. Boy, that big rig, I just, man. And so CHP just had to stop for that, and they just canceled their ground units because of that, because that was so close. And I wonder if that's what this suspect was hoping for. Now, we still have helicopters overhead, and we're going to see if LAPD wants to get back involved in this, see how the watch commander feels about this. Again, it was a stolen vehicle pursuit, but CHP, from what we just heard, they might be done with this after that maneuver right there, after getting too close. I mean, boy, like something nerve-wracking, like out of a Bruce Willis movie or something like that. But that was real life, and that was scary.
Yeah, and still driving fast on surface streets.
With their lights off. Underneath us again, and he's going to go underneath us even yet again. No, he's right underneath us. That's okay. I gotta help my pilot. No, it's fine. It was, my pilot Chris here doing
getting back
the best
on the
he can
freeway
for this one, and us with our camera work. Okay, so now we're getting back on the roadway again, and I think we're actually back on that same stretch of roadway, deja vu right there, back onto the westbound 10, coming out of the East LA interchange. Now we're just on the other side. Now we're behind the driver here, so they were just basically just looped right back around.
Lights off.
Very bizarre. Let's see if they're going to try that maneuver again, but
yeah, you wonder what that was about. I'm going to be honest, Des, I almost thought, like, yeah, okay, close to where this started, not far from Newton Division, that maybe they were going to an area that was familiar to them, and they would try that old foot bail, ditch the car thing. But no, they just turned around and after ditching CHP, so to speak, got back on the freeway.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to. I don't know if the suspect meant to do that, or if that just happened coincidentally like that. But we've seen the most dangerous stuff by far when they get off of the freeway, and if this person thinks that if I could just push it, if I can push it hard enough, maybe I can get the authorities off my tail, get some space, and get to somewhere where they can ditch the car. Well, they do have a little bit of space at the moment, but CHP says they are going to be re-engaging now that they are back on the freeway. So it's kind of like, I guess CHP is just indicating when it's off the roadway, we're just going to watch it from the air. When it's back on the freeways, we will, get back on top of it. So now we're taking the exit to the 110. Going to be kind of a turn here, or are we going southbound? If we're going southbound, we will have basically done the hat trick and done a complete loop around. Yep, a complete loop around from where this has all started. Taking the southbound 110, unless they're taking an exit here. Now this is going to be the southbound 110 as we loop around and started. Yep, and we are in LAPD Newton Division, so we really are right back where this all started, Pat.
And here we go, folks. This has been well over an hour and a half now. A Kia sedan. This started in the Newton Division, and I've been talking to Desmond for as long as we've been on the air here, as I mentioned, over an hour and a half. And this has been, what, 7 freeways now, Desmond? Just trying to get our viewers just a taste of how long and how far this vehicle has traveled and is still going. And that's what surprises us the most, I think. This is a stolen vehicle, but driving for over an hour and a half at speeds over 100 miles an hour most of the time.
Yeah, I've been at triple digits the whole time. And, why not? Of course, the suspect now going into the absolute worst airspace for us, this section of LAX airspace, which arguably is even worse than, well, if he stays on the freeway, we can stick with this. We won't be allowed to stop over the freeway is my understanding of the rules for when LAPD is in an active pursuit and they have their helicopter overhead. But we have gotten clearance in, so let's just hope that the suspect stays on the freeway so we can continue to bring you this. But yeah, we're well into Wednesday morning now. Of course, we've got some elevated carpool lanes we're going to have to get around, but so it's just going to be probably a couple of miles of this on again, off again shot with these carpool lanes as we make our way back around. But we have covered so much ground on this marathon high-speed pursuit. Now southbound 110 through the heart of South LA.
And officers have not given up. They've been on this from the start, pulled back for a second, but still had eyes overhead. And when they didn't have vehicles on the ground following close by, they re-engaged this vehicle. So obviously, as Des has been talking about, they want to see this come to an end, and they have been committed to this vehicle. Sure is dark out there, Des.
Yeah, it is awfully dark. You know, pretty, very few cars out here in the evening, and guess just not a lot of lights out on this section of the roadway to light it up. And
with
know,
no
this
lights
person's
on,
still with their lights off. Yeah, and no lights at this point. Of course, I say that now we pick up a couple of more cars, but over to the right-hand side, coming up to the Manchester exit already, and it's crazy because, Pat, it's like we've been going so fast now for so long that it almost doesn't even look like the suspect is going that fast, but they are.
Yeah.
They have been going about 100 miles an hour this entire time, and you saw just how quickly in our last exchange we got from the 110-10 all the way down to Manchester, near the exit that you would take to get towards SoFi Stadium, and we'll be back down towards the 105 freeway in no time.
Yeah, I thought he was going to take that Manchester exit for a minute, but then he didn't. He's gone over to the far left lane here, and that's where he is.
Yep, and you see the spotlight there from LAPD, who, of course. Excuse me, Sheriff's 21 on this one. LAPD is long since left, the one that had the malfunctioning spotlight. But you see there with sheriffs, even though we're in LAX's airspace, they're able to transition through this side. They're able to transition instantly and get through and be able to continue to provide that air support on this one. But just since we have kind of a wide shot, we can see, are there any ground units? And there are not at the moment. They are just watching this from the air right now. We had heard CHP say that they were going to re-engage now that they're back on the freeway, but it's anyone's guess what is going to happen next. And getting off the freeway at Imperial Highway.
You know what? Did you see that? To me, it almost was like a jerking movement, Des, that they weren't sure they were going to make, they were going to exit, but they just decided at the last minute.
Yes, the suspect has been doing that at a lot of different junctures where do I get off? Do I not get off? Do I get off? Do I not get off? And then kind of make a split-second decision right at the last moment. So going through another red light, that tree was in the way, but that was a very, very close call right there as we are on, well, where is this going to lead us here? We are coming over the 110 freeway and getting up into a neighborhood here as we are on Olive, paralleling the 110, and unfortunately, even though we have a really good shot right now, we are forced to get behind this because, again, we are still in LAX's airspace. If this maniac would have just gone one more exit, we would have been able to provide this much better for you. But let's see. No, getting back on the freeway. The aimlessness continues here.
Oh, there it is.
Down northbound 110.
Yeah, you have no idea what this guy is thinking. Like, why does he?
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Uh-oh.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now we got it for you. Okay.
Well, there he is. Right there. Okay, and still, we don't see any law enforcement behind him right now.
Nope, not
see the spotlight,
at the moment.
But no.
Yeah. Well, there's a unit up ahead. Let's see what they're going to do. They might be getting ready to fall in line with this pursuit. If that's CHP or if that is LAPD. Just have to wonder how many different units have been involved in this pursuit now, because we've covered so much ground in such a short, actually not a short amount of time, in a pretty long amount of time. That is CHP right there. And you know, obviously this person knows they're being lit up by the spotlight. They do have their lights back on for the moment, at least. And there's CHP right there, probably giving them the little side eye there. And I guess they will be getting
There they go.
re-engaged. There's another one. Yeah, there's another one right there.
That's
so
two.
They're ready. And here we go. Lights and sirens back on. Northbound 110. Let's head back towards downtown LA.
I'm trying to see, well, yeah, he's trying to pick up some speed. Not to the hundreds yet that we've seen. And like you said, though, Desmond, you can't really tell right now. I'm just looking at the numbers on the map tracker that we have up there, how fast he's going. Lights off.
Yeah, pretty close. Yep, lights back off again. No rhyme or reason. Extremely dangerous when you're on a dark freeway like the 110 seems to be. It's just crazy that it hasn't ended badly yet at this point when you've got this person flying along like this with no lights on and just, you know, not very visible to other people. And here comes CHP. So what's our next move going to be once we make our way back towards the 110-10 junction? Or will we continue on the North 110, maybe headed towards South Pasadena, or will they take the juncture for the 10 towards Santa Monica, or east towards the Eastdale interchange? Okay,
so Desmond has given 3 opportunities here, and we'll see if this driver is going to take one of them or stay on the 110 for as long as he can before making an exit or even coming up, getting on a surface street. But there he is.
There we go. Yep, there we go. Back under those elevated carpool lanes.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. You and Chris, keep it up with this driver. That's for sure. Because we've seen some. Oh, now he's picked up again, Des.
Yeah. Whoa. Well, let's see here. The map tracker might be getting a little tired because it is so late at night. There we go. I think we are up to about 120 miles an hour there right now. But yeah, you know, marathon pursuit. Got to give a lot of credit to my pilot, very, very seasoned pilot, Chris here, able to keep up on this one. And we just went by my Look at This for this evening, Pat. If everyone watched tonight, we did Bank of California Stadium.
Yes.
We're actually paralleling last night's Look at This as well. Yeah, Coliseum. It's did the Coliseum last night. It's Stadium Week on Look at This for may as well just do a little promo here while we're trying to get caught back up. But,
I know.
Yeah, we're going to be doing some of our awesome stadiums in the greater LA area all week. And tonight, we just passed by Bank of California Stadium, first open-air stadium built since Dodger Stadium was built in the 1960s. How about that?
And
as we make our way
nobody's
to
there right
the
now.
10 Santa Monica 10.
Yep. Nobody's there. Bank.
No.
Right. They have a number of different sporting events, soccer, but that's Desmond, out of control. Did you see that?
Yep.
That's the first time.
Maybe might have taken that turn just a little bit too quickly there. Might have taken that turn as we are back on the 10 Santa Monica, headed back east. And boy, if we thought that they were headed back to the Newton area, we were definitely mistaken in that. It's just we're
like
going to run as long as we can, and it seems to me that this suspect wants to test, you know, how much gas you can get out of a Kia sedan, what kind of mileage you can average when you're going 115 miles an hour. I mean, they've got to be seeing the fuel, you know, ticking down at these kind of speeds, especially. I mean, it is happening very quickly, but obviously this suspect had, you know, way more than a quarter tank of gas, because this has just gone on for so long. They must have had at least a half a tank, if not more.
Yeah, and as you said, driving at these kind of speeds, this is well, you know, this is certainly a great commercial for a Kia, that's for sure. If anyone wants to get some kind of fuel-efficient car, I mean, this has just been incredible, considering how long this person has been driving and the speeds. But now that was dicey.
There was a close one.
Yeah, that was dicey.
Yeah.
And I was talking about how much. Oh, go ahead, Desmond.
Go ahead. Yeah. No. I mean, and the brakes obviously work pretty well, right? I mean, slammed on the brakes, saw a little bit of a rubber burning there on the pavement, had to slam on the brakes so quick, and that's what happens. I'm surprised it hadn't happened sooner when you're driving 120 miles an hour with no lights on and someone gets in your lane like that because they can't see you. But yeah, you know, we've certainly seen some of these pursuits that may, you know, end up working kind of ignominious advertisements, so to speak, with where we've seen trucks that drive for miles and miles on rims after their tires have been spiked and they just keep on trucking. We've seen, you know, gas-sipping vehicles that go on forever and ever. We've had pursuits that have lasted for 6 hours because the vehicles were so fuel efficient, and you know, now this might be another. We had one pursuit with a little Mini that had like 6 people stuffed inside. So that was like
car.
one like, hey, it may be small, but look at how, yeah, the clown car pursuit. So you know, you never know what you're going to see, and this one is just a marathon of just continuing to go as over 100 miles an hour the entire time, and it looks like. So we were on that section of the 5 where it met up. We were on that where the 10 and the 5 meet together, where they share a couple of miles of roadway, and now we are on the eastbound 10, the 10 San Bernardino Freeway. So for those of you keeping track at home, you can chalk up yet another freeway that has been covered. We've now done the 10 Santa Monica and San Bernardino, but we are getting off the freeway. Let's see if it's going to be one of those on again, off again things, or if we're actually going to go somewhere. Okay, so north on Soto Street, so not too far away from County General Hospital and USC. And in the Boyle Heights area, okay,
red light.
Wrong side of the road for absolutely no reason, blowing through that red light.
Still on the wrong side of the road.
Is this driver getting tired? This has been going on so long. You have to imagine that this driver is getting tired, driving like this so fast for so long, and you hate to have a driver driving this fast on little residential surface streets. First time we've seen them now in these tiny little streets.
Wow, did you see that
someone
car?
Might be going this fast if they're this tired. Yeah, really, really close. And are we going somewhere that they know now that we are in residential streets? Let's hope that they run into a dead end and the authorities can corner them in or something. Although, as I widen out, I don't see any units directly behind this person. Yeah, so I think we're in that situation again because this got off the freeway. CHP, their you know, commander probably told him back off. So there is no one behind this person at the moment.
And look at the turns that they're making, Desmond. You know, we think possibly they might know where they're going or have an idea as to where they want to go, if they know this neighborhood, if they know the area. But so far, he's still just driving. Hasn't stopped.
No,
picking up speed again.
I mean, just plowing through these stop signs, not even slowing down to look left and right. And I mean, I just really again right there, super close, right through another red light. Just ridiculous when there's no one even following this person right now. And again, if you've got a tired driver who's willing to take these kind of risks at these kind of speeds. Now, you know, the danger level has really gotten turned up, and I don't know how this hasn't already ended in a crash, but I'm just really afraid that this is going to end with an innocent person getting T-boned the way that this person is going along like this.
Yeah, we certainly hope that doesn't happen. But then again, as you said, driver's got to be tired. He hasn't stopped. He's been driving for over almost going on 2 hours now, and that's dangerous in itself. And now he's in a residential area in the Boyle Heights area where we've seen him. This is the first time. Isn't this the longest that we've seen this driver in a residential area? Turning down different streets.
I would say so.
Yeah. So, you know, we always, just back of mind from the chases that we have done as pursuits in the past, you think, well, all right, this might be it. But I don't know, Desmond, because he's not stopping. He just continues to blow through these lights and, you know, still has a high rate of speed in an area like this.
Yeah, and even though we're at this late hour, I mean, it seems it's just like a matter of time before they're going to run into some other vehicles here at this point as we make our way along 4th Street, and we'll be making our way into the East Los Angeles area, into LA County Sheriff's jurisdiction. They already have their helicopter overhead, so we'll see if any of their ground units want to pick this up. Sheriff's deputies in recent years have definitely, I think that they would have no problem with me saying that they have been loath to chase or reluctant to chase. Only in the most extraneous circumstances will do they often get into the pretty wild high-speed pursuits if it's a very, very serious crime. Usually if it's a stolen vehicle, they will usually pass on those. But they do have their helicopter overhead, so we'll see if they decide to get involved in this, or if LAPD is going to pick this back up. Sheriffs are actually talking to LAPD at the moment about this one. And you know what, Pat? I think might be this. We're getting so late at night here. We actually were headed back westbound towards downtown LA. So scrap everything I said about sheriff's deputies because we are talking about LAPD.
Okay.
And the sheriffs are talking to LAPD as we make our way through the Arts District and Japantown, and we're now on 3rd Street. And now they're saying that I think they're saying that they are not going to take this over. So now I'm just wondering
Who's?
Yeah, it sounds like the helicopter might just stick with it here is what I'm hearing now.
Well,
helicopter sticking with it. No ground units right now. So well, I don't know. How is this one going to end?
There we go. And there we got our tall buildings there, Desmond, which makes it a little more difficult.
We do.
You got them. I see them.
And I think we're going to go through a tunnel here right now as well. And we have seen
yes
that pursuits have ended in these kinds of tunnels before.
That's
so we've
correct.
got to keep a wide shot and watch both sides of this tunnel because suspects will do a U-turn if they're
or
able
ditch
to.
the car.
Yep, and you see LAPD's spotlight here as well. There we go. We got it. Okay. Reacquired. So out of that tunnel. And that's what makes me wonder, I mean, is this person even seriously looking for an escape plan? Because, you know, they've got to see there's no one behind them. Yeah, they've got to see there's no one behind them on the ground.
Right.
They were inside of a tunnel. They've been in multiple tunnels at this point where we're in between all kinds of tall buildings. There's all kinds of parking structures around here. And yet this suspect continues to plod along, you know, at these speeds. I mean, actually, can't even say plod. I think plod implies slowly. We are, you know, still really kind of blasting along here, 60 miles an hour on these surface streets.
And again, now, you know, it makes you wonder. We've been talking about possibly looking for a place to ditch the vehicle, but he didn't do that. A place where he knows where he's going. Don't know that for sure because he's been everywhere at this point. And haven't seen him in the Westlake District, so this is another area. This is a new area.
Yep, we are covering more and more ground by the second in the Westlake area here along 3rd Street. And, you know, you see we're really getting into the wee hours of the morning, and even in Los Angeles, very sparsely traveled now at this point, which is good for the public at least. You know, there's not going to be a lot of people out here walking around, no commuters out here, just maybe folks coming back from late nights, as we will be doing when this does eventually end, Pat. And you know, we would hope that the E-light is on and there's a chime inside this guy's cabin telling him that you're about to run out of gas. That is certainly my hope, but it's anyone's guess. And this is just crazy how long this has gone on and at these speeds. And you know, we're now just following from the air with us and LA County Sheriff's deputies. The agencies on the ground have lost interest for the moment. LAPD started all this. CHP took it over. They were on and off it for a long time. Despite all of the effort that they put into this pursuit, unless this person gets back on the freeway, they no longer have interest in this. And even if it gets back on the freeway, are they going to have any interest in it? So
maybe you know what?
You want to see someone. Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe not at this point, Desmond, because we were talking about how long that they had stayed with this car, like they had really committed that they wanted to get this, to bring this to an end and get this driver behind bars. And now it does make you wonder if they have decided something different. We don't know that for sure, right? But that certainly is a possibility.
Yeah, very, very possible. As we're going down Catalina Street in the Koreatown, very
that was
densely
close.
populated area. Yeah, fairly close there. So I think that's probably the 6th or 7th time that the suspect has gone right underneath us. But here we go. Catalina Street coming down to 6th Street in Koreatown. Could still see a decent amount of cars out here. You know, Koreatown's so densely populated. Made a right, I believe, onto 6th Street. Should be coming out from underneath these vehicles.
There he
here
is.
we go. Now just kind of
Making a left.
zigging and zagging around. But, I mean, there's really just no reason to. I mean, I don't want to say the suspect has won, but look, they're just watching from the air. You've been driving around all this time. There's no one behind you on the ground. There doesn't seem to be anyone within at least a minute or two's distance. So why do you continue to do this and run through red lights when there's every indication that you know, you have a chance to get out of this vehicle?
Well, that's the first time we've seen this.
Yeah.
Oh, now he's backing up.
Stopped and look at kind of panicked. I mean, this driver's just panicked, and now in reverse. Are they gonna make a U-turn? Yes, they are making a U-turn here onto 6th Street. Didn't like the idea of being at a stoplight there for
or being trapped, right?
a couple of minutes.
It's just, you know what? It's too bad that they could have just converged on him while he was stopped and driving at a low speed and just pitted him, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, no, I know, and that's I know, and you know, you wish that opportunity would have been there, but they're just watching this one from the air right now as we are.
Okay, and again, now he's now traversing Koreatown, picking up more speed. Still no rhyme or reason. Just driving aimlessly. We've gone through a number of areas, seen quite a few.
Yep.
Wow, attractions, landscapes. But this person,
and,
you know, he's still on
wrong side of the road there.
Yeah. I guess we could call this a joyride. What else would you call it, Desmond? I mean, considering.
Yeah. No, it really is, and it's just a very, very shameful stolen vehicle car ride, joyride is what this is, because I mean, there seemed like a lot of desperation earlier in this pursuit, but there just isn't any, I don't know, serious effort to get out of the car. I don't even see a spotlight now from the authorities on this one. No, this is. Oh, they might actually be on the wrong vehicle right now. We'll see if my pilot Chris can. I mean, this is the Kia. It's got the dark tint on the back of it here, but you know, this has been going on so long. Maybe, I don't know. Sheriffs might apparently have their spotlight on the wrong vehicle here.
Wow, you think maybe they lost him when he went in the tunnel?
No, they had him after that. I'm not sure if they were just at a bad angle when they came across one of those tall buildings and lost it for a second, and then if this vehicle might have, you know, crossed paths with another white vehicle. I mean, obviously there's a lot of white sedans around, but yeah, actually, I believe sheriff's deputies are now clued into to the vehicle now. They might be needing to catch back up, but we're headed back into South LA and south on Normandy, and if this continues, this will definitely be a problem for us getting into LAX's airspace. There you go. There's the spotlight. They got it again. But again, no ground units. Why continue to blow through these red lights? I mean, you don't want to see a stolen vehicle suspect get away, but the authorities on the ground don't seem to have a ton of interest in this. They're watching it from the helicopter, but if this person gets out and runs, they're going to have a a very long lead time before any ground units can get up. I would say at least 30 to 60 seconds, head start from any ground units that would come and try to slap some handcuffs on this person. So, I mean, I don't know. What more does this person want?
And you know something, Des? Again, this is the longest that this person has been on surface streets, right?
Yeah, we have been on surface streets for a good long while now. I think maybe 15 or so minutes at this point.
And you wonder why why haven't they tried to get back on the freeway? Maybe they know they're running out of gas, or we always think maybe they know where they're going, but at the same time, law enforcement is aware of the same thing. So as far as an opportunity, you would have more opportunity now than you would if the person got back on the freeway.
Yeah, and
look, 20,
and
30s. We haven't seen that.
Yep, and this may be our limit right here as we go down these surface streets, because we are up against LAX's airspace, and because they're off of the freeway, this is area where we are not allowed to tread when LAPD has one of their or any law enforcement airship is overhead, as LA County Sheriff's helicopter is. So we have to stop right here, and we're showing you this from a lens, and we'll see how long this continues. But they'll be able to continue to monitor this from the air. I just don't know what the point of that is if you're not going to have any ground units on standby. I mean, I guess if this person runs into a house, then you'll be able to, they can let the authorities, they can let the ground units know, what home they're in or something like that. But short of that, I don't know. It's getting late, and it just doesn't seem like they're not 100% in on this. They're just not none of the agencies are at this point.
And what's so frustrating, Desmond, I keep saying that they've been on this surface streets for a long time, and when you get to see them, driving at 20, 30 miles per hour, you're just hoping that, that's the time that they possibly could have stopped this, whether they did a spike strip or a pit maneuver or something. They had more opportunity because the driver slowed down, but that's not the case because they're not following.
No, yeah, and I mean, part of the idea is to get this person to slow down,
Yeah.
and the speeds are a bit more modest now at this point as we make a turn onto 49th Street, and so if that was the objective, that has worked. And look, this vehicle is in their stolen vehicle database, and they know that. And the next time, if this person does get away tonight, then all it's going to take is for the police to get behind them again, and try to pull them over again. If they are going to get away tonight, as unfortunately this vehicle is beginning to get away from us a little bit.
Yep, on West 49th Street, it's still going. That's the other surprising things about this. They haven't stopped on their own or because the vehicle won't go any further. But they're winding through these side streets.
Over the 110. Yeah, yep. And what's just so frustrating, Pat, is we've covered this for so long, and we want to see how this ends, and it looks like that unless this ends within the next few moments, we're not going to see how that comes to an end. Well, we'll see. You're coming back on Broadway right now, but they've got to be low on fuel, and we're going to be low on fuel ourselves as well. That's how long this pursuit has gone on. So it's pretty crazy. It's just a marathon of a stolen vehicle pursuit.
And it really has been. There's no question, and it still is. And it is kind of difficult just to see because of how much attention was paid to this in the beginning with law enforcement, and even with them backing off and then getting back involved. But this person, is still driving away, going about his merry way and is still not has not stopped. And we, as you mentioned, Des, we may not see this person being taken into custody tonight.
Yeah, and, you know, second on the list of aggravation besides potentially not seeing the end of this is that In-N-Out is closed now, Pat. So even when
shucks.
we're done with this, we're not even going to be able to reward ourselves with a much-deserved double-double. I guess I'm going to have to save that for lunch tomorrow. You know, sometimes when we have these late nights, I'm always thinking about that.
Well,
but,
you know what? How many times have you talked about In-N-Out, but how many times have we talked about going out to dinner? So, that, you know, that's just got to happen.
I know it. You know, now we're out of COVID times now. Now that things are safe, you know, very much would love to do that. You know, if it's I'll take anything between In-N-Out and Lowry's Steakhouse. How's that for a spread?
Yeah, because we mentioned Lowry's Steakhouse. You know, I would love for you to just come and pick me up and give me a ride in the chopper, but you know, I know we can't do that here because we don't have a landing pad for you. But we've got to make that happen, Des. So
one
you know
of these
what?
days, absolutely.
Oh, for sure. And we've said that on the air so many times. So it's not just our word. We've got our viewers' words as well. And Desmond, I've heard that we can wrap this up.
All right. Well, you know, I hate to see no ending here, but sometimes that's just the way the In-N-Out double-double crumbles, Pat.
Yeah, boy, okay, now Desmond is going to go on and on making these. But you know what? You're entitled to do that. And I have to say, there are a lot of viewers out there as well that are frustrated. They want to see this come to an end as well. But folks, we got to let Desmond go home. He can't get an In-N-Out burger, but he's still got to get fed. So I'm going to wish you and Chris a good night, Desmond. And we'll do this again tomorrow.
Thanks for... all right, you got it, Pat. Hopefully not quite as late, but we'll see what Wednesday brings.
Okie doke. All right, that's a 10-4 on our side. And we want to thank our viewers for joining us on CBSLA.com and KCAL 9. And we'll see you tomorrow.
From the CBS Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is CBS 2 News.
Hold on to your hats, Southern California. The first big wind event of the season is expected to kick up tonight as some places could see up to 70-mile-an-hour winds. Today in Santa Clarita, the wind was starting to pick up already. These strong winds mean increased fire danger. The recent storm is helping ease the concern, but only just a little bit.
You know, we did get rain, so it's all pretty damp still. Nevertheless, if there is a significant fire, it could be definitely pushed by the wind.
Well, firefighters urge people to weigh down anything in their yards that could fly away. We also checked with SoCal Edison, and as of now, it's not planning on shutting off power as a precaution. So just how strong are the winds going to get? Well, here's Evelyn Taft with a look at those dangerous fire conditions. Ev?
Oh, Pat, I mean, we are expecting some serious gusts, like you said, 60, 70 miles per hour in spots.